Hi, I'm Matt Lee, and welcome to CTO Coffee Hour. With me, as always, is Dominic DeMarco. So, cheers. Yeah, it's pretty
Happy
late,
Tuesday,
late in the day where he's out. What's 8 o'clock there?
8 p.m. And I've got Tiski beer. This is the beer of Poland.
And he's on vacation with his family, so it's totally understandable.
I don't know if I'd call it vacation, but
Well,
all the
they're there. They are
same.
there. So today we have a question from one of our listeners. So this is kind of fun. Regiswari, who's participated in a Cloud War game and chatted with us before, asks, let's see, the thing that I'm currently on a, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, starting the journey, starting the entrepreneurial journey, essentially. How do you get out of the gate?
Yep, very much so. So one of our concerns is that DevOps or cloud is not something that just ends when the project completes. That's a perk. That's a perk in some ways.
Well,
I
mean,
client.
even before that, I mean, how do you even get going? How do you get your name out there? How do you find your first business? And then those are some of the questions, excuse me, that need to be addressed and talked about, after that.
I can tell you how I did it. And Dom, you've got a lot of early stage experience. So
I've
you
come
go
out of
first.
the gate and fallen on my face many a time. Absolutely.
Yeah. I've had luck when I was first starting out by reaching out and just being helpful, saying, hey, I've done this before. Is this something interesting to you guys? And I reach out to early stage companies typically. Open source projects would be another one that I would do today if I was starting over. But I would generally reach out to someone with authority, which again, small startups, it's easier to find, and say, hey, can I be, this is something I see you guys are working with this technology. Can I be helpful with this other tech, this? And I'd make a recommendation that way. I wouldn't, you got to be careful. You can volunteer, but make sure you're aware of your time. Like, don't let them completely, so what I'm looking for, monopolize your time. They should be respectful. And if they want to use your time, in a higher capacity or have some heavier say in it, then in which case, financial compensation makes sense there. But
so, I mean, this person also asked specifically about Upwork and Fiverr. And, I've hired off of there. I've never tried to find work on there, but everything I've posted always seems to get a barrage. And I was actually talking with somebody in Rome just the other day about they were looking to find not freelance work, but work in general, right? And with all of the AI automation within everything hiring right now, and we've discussed this, I told her your goal is not to get an interview. Your goal is to not be a digital piece of paper in a massive pile. And how do you get out of that? And it feels like starting a freelance or small business is very much the same. How do you separate yourself from the crowd? How do you become a person, not a piece of paper, not a website? Because you and I both know when you're actually looking at those things, it's less about your first pass going through any of these, because somebody may be hiring for this or be contracting for this. Your first pass is not to find the perfect match. Your first pass is just to exclude as many people as you can so that you can have a much smaller pile to look at and spend time on. So in those situations, depending upon the type of person you are, where you are, etc., if you're in the same city as people, I always recommend anybody that you're connected to, went to the same university as, have one friend in common, you try to meet for coffee. And if you're a personable person, if somebody likes you, if they feel as though you've got something to offer, they may not have what you're looking for. That first person you talk to, you don't even put a lot of criteria on it. You don't say, is this the right person that's going to hire me and give me the opportunity? But can this person introduce me to the next person that might get me one step closer to what I'm looking for?
yeah, and you're a very good networker. I will say that this is one of your superpowers there, and you're good at finding talent. So, 100% with you
But
there.
insofar as this, like, how are you going to find companies that are looking? Saying you're trying to start a business, I think, is going to be challenging. Will you hire me? However, saying I'm looking to get into this space, I'm looking to do these things, could I have a conversation with you? You can give me some advice. There's the age-old mantra in the startup world that When you're looking for money, ask for advice.
Mm-hmm. And if you're looking for advice, ask for money.
So how can you reach out to these people? And this is something that I've used with pretty good luck, actually, because it's easy to find big companies that are hiring or theoretically hiring. They have job posts, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really what they're looking for. They're looking for somebody that's flying under the radar, and that's where you really can leverage all of the AI out there. I would use several of the different engines, be it Gemini, Claude, OpenAI, and give them the sorts of parameters of companies you're looking to talk to. Then you jump over to somewhere like LinkedIn, you find the CTO, the CEO, the founder, whomever it is, and say, hey, could I get 30 minutes of your time, 15 minutes of your time to ask you some questions?
Mm-hmm.
How to turn into a person, separate yourself from the digital masses.
Yeah. Hackathons and meetups were also something that gave me windows of opportunity there. You jump into a hackathon, and a lot of times it's an engineer from a startup or something like that. You contribute in some capacity to a project that's never going to go live, but they see your skills and you get to befriend them. So in the virtual world, yeah, I think that still stand pretty well in the virtual world. Another thing that pops in my head is don't be afraid to turn your camera on. You want to stand out in that stack of resumes. They want to make sure you're not just some AI bot, So I know that's tough for some people, but in this world where you can generate, headshots and text and whatever, if there's a way you can stand out there, and if you look at my website front and center, you'll see obviously a bunch of me talking just like this, or, I paid how much to have the videographers come and film, that big ordeal this summer. So if you can capture social proof that way, that's great. Record a vlog of you doing the hackathon with other people, and it shows that you're a team player. That stands out, because the hard skills of like just tech are one thing. The soft skills that a lot of engineers that are very good lack is that ability to collaborate and communicate. So you've got to be able to.
People would rather hire somebody they like and see if they can grow into a role than cross their fingers and hope as well.
Yeah.
The more somebody likes you, the more they think you're a good person, that's magic. That's a multiplier. And I'm going to take the flip side of what you just said. I often take these sorts of calls in very untraditional places and try to make it look as though you're an interesting person. I mean, I took a call with you, 3-4 weeks ago, walking around the streets of Rome. I talk to customers all the time at cafes and coffee shops, just because hey, I'm away from the office. This is what I'm working on. And they find it interesting. You want to be interesting and personable. Those are two of the greatest traits when you're out there trolling for business.
And I can
not trolling like the troll, but trolling like fishing.
Well, and I haven't done the thing where I have taken calls all around the planet, but typically, especially these days, I take the call, and the setup I'm not using right now, that high quality setup, that's interesting too, so it doesn't just have to be, you don't have to like travel across the world. You just have
your calls also generally require you to be in front of a computer and maybe answer questions and things like that.
Yeah, lots of times there. So another thing you might want to try, which I put out there for hires that when we were hiring at Schematical, was to submit a video, kind of a quick video resume. Hey, here's what I know about the company. Here's, where I want to be in a few years. Here's what I'm excited to work on. Here's how I think I can help. And there was one other one, but I can't remember what it is offhand, but basically telling that stuff. Dan Martell, I think, was the one that suggested that in the first place. So I'm going to give him credit, but feel free to do that. I was interested in a mastermind group, and there was an application process, and I submitted a video, and no one had ever done that before. And so that got me to the top of the list right away.
Differentiate you. Yeah. So for this person, I mean, the first step was right. She reached out to you and asked for advice. There is one critically important question, arguably the most critical question. In fact, did you tell this person that we were going to talk about them today?
Yes,
there's been one person watching the entire stream, so I hope it's them. The single most important question in all of business, in all of life, in all of any of this is, who could you introduce me to? Who else should I talk to? If somebody likes you, they're going to make the next introduction. Matt, you might not be hiring, but you will be able to make an introduction to 2 or 3 people if you like this person to say, hey, I don't know, but let me introduce you to Tom, Ben, Joe, somebody else who might be able to help you. So you're always going to, when you ask somebody for that introduction, they're always going to try, again, if they like you, if you're a good person, etc., to push you one step closer to the goal and the destination.
Yeah, and you pay it forward as well. It's a two-way street. So make sure you're helping people out and introducing them to people, that will help them on their journey as well. So it should not be a one-way street there. But totally agree with you there. Damn it, I had one other thing.
So I mean, if you're looking at small businesses, I would also look at any accelerator, any funding rounds, anything having to do with businesses off the ground, because the smaller the business, the greater the flexibility. When I was running several of my small businesses, I can never pay the best, but I can offer the utmost flexibility around a schedule. You could also you could take more risks with hires, because you're not necessarily looking for the deep ninja. You're looking for somebody who can do what they can do competently well, but quickly pick up other things and run with them.
Well, and that brings me to another point, is you probably early on, before, especially when you're young, if you've got the luxury of doing this, select jobs, not just for pay, but for the ability to learn, to showcase your skills, to try new things, to have some say so in what happens. You learn more. If you're just being told what to do every day, you're not going to get the same skill set as if you have to make decisions and you're responsible for those decisions. I'm responsible for very big budgets because I got positions where it's like, okay, well, someone's got to do it. And so, you've got to learn the hard way really fast. And so I'd optimize for expanding your skills, and that keeps you sharp too,
When I was running specifically Mobile Igniter, like I had a ragtag group of people that came together, but you could throw anything at them. And between the 3, 4, 5 of them, they would figure it out. Like, here, connect this thing, connect a pig feeder to the internet, figure out how to real time scroll the opera lyrics down the page as the opera is going on. We have no clue how to do this on day one. You need people that can go out and figure things out. So really differentiate yourself that way as well. So,
yeah. Absolutely. And that brings me to another thing with Fiverr. So a lot of times you put yourself on there as a software developer for Upwork, you're going to be commoditized. They're going to say, why would I pay this person anything more than the other person? And if you can, you want to differentiate yourself. I try not to be commoditized. I try not to be part of a category, and so, my presence looks very different than just your regular software engineer or web application architect. And that's for a reason. I don't want to be commoditized. So that when you're first learning stuff, once you find what you like, what you're good at, and what is in demand, then you double down. But first you want to try and figure out, try a bunch of different things, and then find the thing that's most in demand that you love doing, and then triple down on doing content on that, showing people, getting social, getting referrals, getting people testimonials on that. And then you go and become the best at so you don't want to just be the best Node.js programmer, because there's so many of them, but you want to be like the best with framework XYZ, I'd say Next, but that's still too generic. So that's the next step in your progression, in my opinion, is niching down.
And then get ready for advice whiplash, because everybody's going to have something contrary to what the other person said as well.
Yeah. So I think we cover this pretty well. If you got any questions, or if anybody that's experienced has some suggestions or other thoughts, feel free to leave it in the comments. I would love to have a conversation on this. It's an important thing. If you're someone hiring, maybe you've got things you're looking for that would help,
Are you looking for somebody who wants to do cloud DevOps and backend development and who's eager to learn? Leave a comment below and we will gladly make this introduction for you.
Yep. You got that, Rajeswari? So we'll connect. If you want to hire someone that's passionate, and you can see her Cloud War Game event on youtube.com/schematical. You can see how she handles, being in the hot seat. Then, check her out. With that
So
said,
Matt, tell us a
yes,
bit
sir.
about Schematical and let's get out of here.
So I run schematical.com. We consult on AWS. I help CTOs running on AWS sleep at night, and technical decision makers. And we also run cloudwargames.com, which allows you to get battle tested. Basically, we do real-time simulations, and there's a bunch of asynchronous puzzles you can do on the side. And most recently, we've been working on schematical.com/game, which is Tech Debt, the video game, which is kind of a fun side project that teaches you a bit about cloud infrastructure while making it more gamified. So with that said, I'm Matt with Schematical. Have a great day.
Ciao all.